Right, everyone, here we are with another video with Invest for Tomorrow. And to all the first-time viewers and investors, welcome to the channel. And to all the subscribers, welcome back. All I ask for in return for the effort and time I put into making these videos and relaying the message is for you to smash that like button and share this with a friend or someone in your community or even your family and friends so they are aware as well. I really appreciate it. It helps out the YouTube channel and it also shows me how much you guys value my time and efforts. Now, let's go ahead and jump into it. So here I have Matterport. I've talked about Matterport before. I've talked about how it's the stock of the decade, and I've been mentioning it over at the Patreon since it was at $17. I said it had room to fall. It fell, and around $13, I started my first position. Then at $12 on the way back up, going ahead and got another position. I striked it like a hawk for those opportunities, and at $17, I went ahead and took my fair share. And as it's going downwards, I've been watching it, and today I've watched it more than ever. And if this was to consolidate or pull down a little bit more, I'm going to start striking like a hawk, but not for a short-term run anymore. I am going to see this for the long term because it is said to be the stock of the decade, and every single article I find, just like this one, are saying why it's the category killer. It's an untapped market, and there's so much potential, right? I've talked about it in the previous videos. So I go back to what I said in those previous videos and how these articles are written now, because that was an article from February. Everything is leading to bullishness for this stock. But remember, it's a SPAC. SPACs are a little bit speculative, and you need to understand that some will run up towards the merger, pull down after the merger, and after the merger, the healthy ones will grow, and the ones that are not too healthy are going to be stagnant and sideways. I don't think that's the case for this one. I think this is one of those SPACs that will get hype on the merger, run up, pull back a little bit, and then grow over time, because this is being said to be the category killer of its basically sector. So when you think about it, it's the Amazon of e-commerce when they call it category killer, Tesla of EV sector, PayPal of obviously transactional fees and transactional ways we do things, right, at point of sale and in its sector. And then we also have Netflix when it comes to streaming. That's what category killers mean, quote unquote, and that's what they're calling Matterport. And this was said by someone on CNBC, and there's just so many articles saying nothing but great things about GHVI. Now, they could be completely wrong. Well, there's the risk. You know, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not here to give financial advice. I would never tell you to buy, sell, or hold any positions on any of the stocks I talk about, but I am here to enlighten you guys, and the risk will always be there. But GHVI is certainly one of my favorite SPACs out of all the SPACs that have came out, okay? I want you guys to be aware of that. It's currently sitting at $13.95. The closer it gets to $10, the more interesting, or $11, and anything below $20 is definitely a steal if you're looking at this for the long term, okay? Not just for the SPAC merger hype. I'm talking about right after it turns into Matterport, and then Matterport grows through its revenues and year over year, right? It's going to take time, but the earlier on you're in it, the bigger the opportunity, right? So the second one is PSTH. I don't know how much you guys know about PSTH, but PSTH still has not found the SPAC that it's going to merge with, right? Who is it going to merge with? It started off here at $21, ran all the way up to $34, and it's pulled downwards. I mean, just such a run and no merger announcement. I guess a lot of people were expecting it now towards the beginning of the year. Nothing merger of announcement yet. Now, the fact that it's getting back down close to $23, $21, this seems to be a steal, because this is one of those SPACs that did not start off at $10. It started off at $20. So they call themselves a unicorn looking for another unicorn. Right here is part of an article. So it says here, the super SPAC alert, right? This would not be an article on SPACs if we did not mention Bill Ackman's investment vehicle, which Bill Ackman, he basically runs Pershing Square Tontine Holdings. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but Tontine. But basically, Bill Ackman's investment vehicle is PSTH, and Pershing Square Holdings, right? The blank check company raised $4 billion in its search for a mature unicorn, as Ackman himself put it. We're a unicorn looking to marry another unicorn. Excuse us. So they're taking their lovely time. And they show here in the chart how the other Bill Ackman launches have done from 04 till now versus the S&P 500 index, which is pretty interesting. But at the end of the day, they're looking for a mature company, and they're saying they're a mature SPAC merger company. So it's a unicorn mix. And the closer this gets to $23, $21, $20, the bigger the opportunity. Now, the worst case scenario that could happen is that it goes a little bit below $20 or they don't find a merger. Well, I think that usually when that happens after 2 years or something like that, or a year and a half, they have to return, those shares, the value to the investors, and the whole entire merger is closed out. I don't think that Bill Ackman would throw himself out here for no reason, just like that, out of nowhere, to then close out. I think he's preparing himself and his team to find the right unicorn to marry his unicorn, right? Which is his blank check company. Very interesting. This is definitely one to watch and keep your eyes on. And I think this is one of my second favorite SPACs when it comes to the SPACs coming out right now. Now, this one could be speculative because they may not find a unicorn. Who knows? Or they can rush into, quote unquote, finding a unicorn that isn't a unicorn to make it seem like they found a SPAC. So, we got to see. Hopefully they can find one within the next year, because if not, we're getting closer to that 2-year mark and this might have to close out. So, the next one is having to do with space, okay? And I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with it, but it's been falling hard. And the reason being is because it went up to a high here of $17, fell down with the market, rose back up, and it's just been falling and hard, sitting at $10. If it gets below $10, it can get close to the $9 mark. If it gets below $9, this is heavily shorted for real. So here we could see the short interest, it rises by 548%. That's what's going on with this stock. And this was published March 11th. This is a few days ago. So when we go back to March 11th, you could see here how the shorting started, right? This was pulling upwards, and on the 12th, it hit a peak, and it's just been falling. So this is where opportunity meets the prepared. You got to do more research on this one if you don't understand it. They're going to merge with Black Sky. Now, this is more speculative than any of the other two, but I like this one. Why? Because this could receive some love once the merger happens, or even before the merger, if Cathie Wood is really bullish on this opportunity and this merger, because ARKX is coming out soon, and that's going to be the space, right, ETF with stocks that involve or have to do with space, right? When that comes out and that gets started, this could be one of those listed on there. This is a speculative spot and a speculative thought, and also just hypothetically speaking, within the space sector, this is a pretty big company. They do some research and works out in the outer space sector, and space, I was about to say SpaceX. ARKX will have an approach on probably considering this one. So this is more of a speculative play right now leading to the merger. And also, if ARK Invest picks it up, it can start turning into a little bit less speculative with a little bit of speculation, because this sector is going to get hot now. It's just getting started and there's a lot of room for it, but investors have to feel more confident about it. So SFTW is definitely one to keep in mind. Remember, this is very speculative. PSTH, a little bit more speculative, and GHVI is looking like one of those SPACs that, even though SPACs are speculative overall, this could be a long-term opportunity. I mean, I definitely recommend doing more research on these stocks. PSTH, we have no merger. That's why it's speculative. If they don't get one, it gets more speculative over time. But once they get one, I mean, that might be a clear road upwards if Bill Ackman does things correctly, as he always has done. And that's what investors are expecting. And here we have SFTW, excuse me, that may have an opportunity to join in ARKX. And that's where the speculation is, plus merger date running up towards the merger and so forth. So this is more of those that you got to watch carefully. PSTH, you want to start preparing your positions over time because it's not really running or doing anything crazy when you really think about it. And then this one is more of like just waiting towards the merger. And if ARKX doesn't really pounce on it, doesn't mean that it's terrible, but you could start reconsidering staying in it. But that's why I like that one right now, because of the speculation. And this one, you know, as long as it's not above $25, $30, this is a great opportunity to start your positions on a stock that might be worth 2, 3, 4x this from the get-go, right? Because that's what they're looking for. They're a $4 billion market cap already, and they're probably looking for, you know, something. When it's a mature unicorn, they're looking for anything between probably 30 billion to 100 billion in market capitalization. That's a pretty big company when you think about it. And GHVI, I'm loving it. I'm really loving it. I look forward to seeing your guys' thoughts down below. And as always, guys, thank you guys so much for watching, and let's make some money.